Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing our second of the world tours, and this one's just going to be a little bit different than the last. What we're going to be doing is more of kind of a grouping of a couple of different worlds. Just a few that I played on only a little bit, and so I didn't really feel like it was worth making an entire separate video for it. But yeah, the first one we're going to talk about is this one right here, where I was actually trying to make the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, one of the ancient wonders of the world. You can kind of tell I got somewhat there and then stopped. So actually, one of my video ideas I was thinking would be to finish this up in creative mode, and being able to use kind of all the blocks that are available in the game now. So if that's something that you all would be interested, definitely let me know. I'm definitely open to it. I haven't committed quite yet because probably be a bit of a big project. It could be pretty fun though. I would only be doing the outside, so we will take a look at the inside in a sec. But first thing we're gonna actually look at is over here. Just a little show off of the villager trading hall I was using when I played on this world. I had a villager breeder. I think I ended up getting rid of it. Oh yeah, I forgot. There is some chunk airs on this world, so you can from this angle it looks pretty good. You can start kind of see what it looks like. But yeah, that's all we got. So we're not going to spend much time there. Right over here, we are going to just do kind of an aerial view of this thing. Let me actually go to, oh shoot, let me go to spectator mode. I figured out how to fix the commands issue from last time. So we're going to go into spectator mode and we're going to just take a look around this whole place. It is pretty huge, and this took me quite a while. I don't remember like the exact time I spent on it, but I do know that the interior is somewhat close to 100 by 100. I believe it's a little bit longer than that, which I guess compared to a lot of mega builds these days isn't that big, but it was definitely the biggest project I had ever done. It was going to be just this ridiculous mega base, and then everyone kind of stopped playing on this realm, and so I kind of lost motivation. But I still want to show off what I did get done. I think it's still worth seeing, and like I said, if you all are interested and maybe want to, oh yeah, I forgot I hit F1. I was trying to figure out what's going on. Maybe if you all are interested, I could come back and just touch it up a little bit. So we have some soul sand underneath here. But what we got in our kind of just general area, just a little bit of like a totem pixel art. This was just kind of the main entrance. I don't remember what I was planning to do on these sides. I don't think this, oh, this door does work. Interesting. Okay, see it again. Yeah, it actually works still. That's kind of impressive. I did not think that was gonna work. Cool. And then inside, yeah, I went for kind of like dark oak in this interesting pattern. I really like how this turned out, honestly. I'm a big fan of this room. You can see I have some string on top of these bamboo to stop the growth, which is honestly really obvious up close, but I didn't want it to grow any higher, so I think it's fine. And then a little honeycomb shape and some warped on the side just to kind of add to the color palette there. Another cool thing I really like with the ceiling, just having the melons in here, and also the stone cutters as well. I really like using these kind of textures that you don't really think about using that much. And I think the bottom of the stone cutter is honestly a really nice texture. So it's pretty great. And if we go up, you can see all the saws spinning up here, but you don't really see that part from down below, which I'm a fan of how that turned out for sure. And then we'll just go straight ahead here into the main storage area. Again, like I mentioned, I didn't get super far building this, unfortunately. Even though I really like what I had going on. We have this kind of massive storage room, which honestly, looking back, it would have been really impractical to get around this place, so I'm glad I didn't have to use it too much. With some turtles down here. Again, all my utility stations in the middle. You're going to see that in most of my builds. And then this little design right here, which I was really happy with. I really liked how this room was coming along right around when we kind of stopped playing. But I did end up incorporating this very similar design into a later build that we'll actually take a look at in a different video that I'm planning to do. But yeah, this was going to be the main section. let's go up first. So I had a plan for each floor that obviously never really came to fruition. But the plan for this level right here was actually a gold farm. So this is a gold farm. It was quite a laggy gold farm. Let's go into spectator mode for this. And yeah, you can see there's tons of portals. All the piglins would fall out, they would drop down, and I would kill them in this chamber. So yeah, the kind of goal when I was making this was to have almost every farm in the game. Again, there's just an auto killer they're running that will kill them. Did I have any good stuff in here on the scene? But yeah, the goal of this farm was to, or this build, sorry, was to have a farm for almost everything I needed all in one place. And so one of the really cool things is that I chose this location very specifically. Right here, there's actually a skeleton spawner, and if I stood here for a sec, I believe you should see some skeletons start to filter in. And so we actually had a skeleton farm inside of the base, which was super cool, really liked that. And then right across right here, this was actually a slime chunk, and so the original idea was to build this as the slime farm, which, again, didn't quite get there. It was supposed to be a sugarcane farm. We'll mostly just stick to what actually got built. Again, a lot of the detailing never got done. We have a little wool farm in here. Let's see what else we got in this area. This right here was just a little cobblestone farm. This was an Ilmango design. Of like just a really compact cobblestone design. I really like this design. I used it many times just because of how compact it is and just how easy it is to build once you get a decent amount of resources up and running. And then over here we had our honey and bee farm, which is actually not overflowing. I feel like remember it overflowing a lot. And then in here a little sugarcane farm, which I remember this one didn't work super well. I needed to extend this so that we didn't lose as much sugarcane, but yeah, anyways, from what I remember for the second layer, I believe I was going to do some sort of like zoo. I have no clue what this layer was going to be. And then of course we had our gold farm layer, and then lastly this one was going to be some sort of like bedroom. Yeah, but if I do finish this off, which I might, I would definitely go along the route of just doing the outside. I kind of had the idea of like, you know, cascading waterfalls, lots of like big stair entrances like this, a lot of sandstone. I'm a big fan of sandstone. I don't know if I really like it as much as I used to, but back then sandstone was my thing. I loved it. So yeah, let me know, shoot a little comment down below if you are interested in seeing that. I'd love to work on that. And yeah, make a future video. All right, let's hop right into our next world now. So right here, this was the next world I played on after the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. I don't know if it was just that I had less time or what was going on, but I definitely didn't build quite as grand or quite as much as I had in the past. So I'll walk you through just a couple things that I think it's still worth taking a peek at. A lot of what was going on happened in this general area. This little warped path led to a skeleton farm down there, and then my friend Audrey, she built this kind of very colorful base full of lots of flowers and things like that. Yeah, very nice over here. Owen, again, who you've heard me mention quite a few times, he made this cool looking tree house, lots of nice little, I guess you could call that a gradient. I don't know. It's more maybe you would say block vomit. I like it, but he made this really cool acacia tree house. Oh, it looks like there's a mangrove in here too. Wait, is this? No, it's not all mangrove. Some mangrove, some acacia. So this was right about when the wild update came out, I believe, was the acacia or was mangrove. Right here we have just kind of a standard creeper farm with a little pathway to get up. I think this was also a spider farm, if I remember correctly. I usually like to build my creeper farms as spider farms as well. I just tend to use a decent amount of string. Then down here we have Ilmango's moss farm design. Super efficient. It works great to this day, as far as I know. And yeah, it's always done really well for me. So can't complain about that. And then last couple, just a few more small things that we'll take a look at before we fully get into the rest of it. There's a beacon over there. Is that a beacon or is that a block? I don't even know what that is. This was a just tiny little house I made for my friend Mason. Not my greatest work, but you know, there's some ideas here. there's some things. There's not really like a door, so I'm not really sure what was going on there. We're gonna run over to whatever this pillar is. I don't think it is anything. Yeah, not sure what's going on over there. And then if I remember correctly, right in this area there was there was like a little fighting ring, and so this was this little pit that one of my friends had made. Oh wow, it's moving fast now. Yeah, spectator mode. Yeah, this was just a little fighting arena, not super crazy. Over here, I had another house that I made for my friend John. I don't believe he ever got on to see it, but I did make it for him, and I think I quite liked how it looked. Right here we have some bee farms because my main base, which was sort of like a greenhouse, didn't end up really having anything. It didn't have enough room. It didn't have enough room to do what I wanted to do with it, so I had to kind of build outside. But anyways, let's take a look. We're gonna head right inside the greenhouse. I'm still really happy with this kind of custom birch tree. I think the leaves could have gone better, but I really like how the trunk looks, and the sprinkling in of the diorite really adds to it. We're gonna take a quick look over here. The entrance was actually a skulk sensors. This was kind of me messing around with skulk sensors again right around when the wild update came out. So you just had to run around this general area, and that would open up this little passageway to what was kind of the proper base. So the inside here was just kind of nicely decorated, some paths, some flowers. I made these little flower things, which I'm not the biggest fan of those. But the real part that I like the most is going to be down here. Again, I mentioned this in a previous video, but powdered snow with carpet on top negates all fall damage. Really big fan of that. Some interesting stuff going on in my inventory. And then, yeah, the way that you would get back up once it was closed, you just take this book and you flip it like that, and then the top opens up. So just a cool little contraption to actually get yourself out of there. And then we'll take a quick look in this area. So the general idea was that it was supposed to be like a lab with a bunch of different experiments and things. I was trying to add in a lot of redstone, a lot of hidden farms. This is just a little kind of display. Right here we had an infinite water source here, and then this was actually a lava farm. And so what would happen if I click this button, it should, I don't know what that does actually. Get myself a bucket. I think it was actually that it automatically switches to the next cauldron. No, maybe I have to click this now. Well, whatever's going on here didn't really work, but at the time I had a little piston feed tape set up with all these cauldrons, and the idea was I could just come by, grab as much lava as I needed, and then move on from there. So I don't know how this works. Maybe I must be missing the input or something. It's been a while. But yeah, that's okay. Anyways, in here was originally going to be the nether portal that I would use, which I don't believe ever got built. No. I also had these nice little 3x3s with a hole in the middle, and I really like how they look, especially with the stairs. I think it's a nice design, and it adds some life to the build. I want to take a look at this as well. So I was trying to add a lot of things that would yeah, just add some life. So if you actually shoot this, nope. You shoot this, that actually makes the lights up top blink a little. So yeah, not anything super like meaningful, but I did have that added. And then there's a little slime pipe here. Over here's another slime pipe. I thought at one point one of these was a honey pipe, but maybe I just never got to that. And then one of the other cool parts about this base that I really liked was when you just walk straight this way, it would two little slime block launchers that would launch you up to the top. Big fan of that. And then up top was just a kind of general sorting system. Again, no automatic sorting yet, nothing super fancy. And then a little to-do list, all that over here. And yeah, just a nice little storage system. What is back here? I actually don't remember. I think this was the original entrance I used a lot, and also just kind of the back door to a lot of where the redstone was. But moving back down, there's a couple more things to see. One other cool thing I added was these block swappers. So swapping out the block to get the crafting table really quick and then putting it back. And then, yeah, let's look at all these side rooms. In here, we have our villager station. They're looking a little darker than normal due to my texture pack. I like to add diversity into the game. And yeah, this place was interesting. Some design choices that I don't hate it. I used a lot of magma blocks for a villager trading hall, but very similar to the last design, I believe, except I don't think I ever put... Oh no, there were zombies underneath. Okay, so yeah, very, extremely similar, and yeah, you've seen a villager trading hall before, so not a whole lot of note. Never ended up filling it all the way, but took me a long time to get it to where it is. All right. I guess we can take a look at this too. This is the freezing chamber. Again, powdered snow had just been added, and I wanted to add things that felt like experiments. And there was also a little secret tunnel in here. And if you go this way... Oh gosh. Let me go to spectator mode. This is too slow for me. Where did this lead? I don't even remember. It led up to the top, I guess. Yeah, so just a little secret tunnel, and then... Where am I? Oh gosh, it's been too long. Okay, this is not the right way to go. Let's try to get back to where we were. Way up there. We have just a couple more rooms to look at quickly before we move on to our last and final build of this specific video. Take a look at the bedroom area. So this was the bedroom space. Again, not a whole lot of detail added in here. I think it was kind of more of a rough thing. My head all the time. But not too shabby either. Some cool ideas going on. I like Skulk. You'll see me using Skulk a bit throughout my other builds as well. I think it's kind of hard to fit into a good build, but when you do fit it in, it looks real nice. Moving on in here, I liked having these little mangrove plants. Someone else built this in my base, and I remember just being like, this is horrific. So I don't remember who even built this, but I had a plan to turn it into something else at some point. And then if we walk in through here, we have just a little sheep farm. Down here, there's wool everywhere. And we also had our little Jeb rainbow sheep guy here. I like how this room turned out a lot. I love kind of the aesthetic of just kind of random leaves, and some of them are hanging down. I also like this little banner thing going on. Pretty cool. But I don't believe there's a whole lot else here, though. The lights would flicker every so often. And yeah, I think the general idea at some point was that slime was like powering this place, and that's why there was slime pipes everywhere and just a bunch of slime, which was an interesting idea, but one that I don't feel I ever really took off. But yeah, and then this just brings us back up to the surface. At one point, I was planning on building like a massive Chinese temple in this general area. Again, didn't get around to it, but that's okay. Anyways, that is everything that I'm gonna have for this this world. All right, so this is the last of the 3 worlds that we're going to be doing for this video. Like I said, they're all pretty small worlds, which is why I kind of grouped them together. And then we'll have 2 more videos, one with just a massive world that me and a bunch of people played on. And then the last video will be the last 2 worlds that I did with a specific friend group. So we'll kind of do those together as well. But yeah, this one was about a year after the one we just looked at, and then this is kind of my main base area. We'll take a little bit of a closer look at that. It's a little bit later. We are actually gonna start over here with my starter base, because this is where I started. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to do sort of like a city, or I mean a little village over water kind of vibe, almost like in like Polynesia kind of. I think that's the right place I'm thinking of. And my goal with this starter base was to really pack as much detail in as possible. And so definitely some choices in here. I think that I should have been a bit better about the color scheme, but I don't hate all the details. There's some pretty cool stuff. So we got our little dog here, nice little seating arrangement. On the outside of this, I don't believe it's actually on right now. I may have to turn it on. Oh, it looks like it should be on. What is this? Tell. Almighty Skibidi. Yeah, not really sure what that's about. Yeah, and then I had kind of like a hidden storage. So I had these barrels that you couldn't really tell they were barrels, you know. But I had this as my general storage when I was living in the starter base. And then through here I had like a lounging kind of thing with a bed, another dog. And this was almost supposed to be like kind of a fishing dock. One interesting thing I made as well was this little tree on like a rock, and you could get across using the drip leaf there, and then get across with the lily pads. We're gonna, before we get to the big build over there, we're gonna take a quick look around at other things. A little chicken built by one of my brother's friends with horses, and also a bunch of poop coming out. Not really sure what's up with that. I built this, which is supposed to be Kendrick Lamar's album cover. Damn, which I don't know. I don't know about this one. That is something else. This was a little mini game my brother built where you just like have to jump down and place some blocks and things. A little aquarium as well, and I think that's a mob farm. This is my brother's. Why is there so many chicken over here? What the heck happened here? This is my brother's base. I think he found this on the internet somewhere, but he built kind of like a hanging thing. And then there was also, I believe, another area. Yeah. This, whatever's going on here and over there. Lots of like kind of wooden little houses. And this was over here. This was kind of our farming district. So we built a ton of industrials looking at farms out here. This was a, what was this one? Sheep? Oh, this is a sheep farm. Didn't know that. I didn't build that one. We got wheat here, and then this is a little converter to make mud blocks, because as you'll see in a sec, I was using quite a lot of mud for everything. Cactus farm here. This is a tree farm. Sugar cane, kind of your average gunpowder farm. And then this is a moss farm that I believe my brother built that never worked. And then again, that same moss farm that we saw in one of those earlier worlds that actually does work. And then we have pumpkin and melon right here. So nothing too crazy that you haven't seen before, but kind of things you need to really get the world up and running and off its feet. Yeah, let's now head over to the villager area. So right here was where it was the villager breeder, and then all of my little villager trading hall. This was right around the time where I really started ditching having like a zombie in here. I just felt like a lot of work, which is something that I kind of want to go back to just because it really does help a lot. But yeah, having a villager trading hall outside was not a good idea. There was a lot of deaths in this general area. But anyways, this was my friend Matthew's depiction of me. Really beautiful. Thank you, Matthew. And this over here was another person who played on their realm. That's her house. Yeah. But let's move on to the big show. So what this was supposed to be was going to be a museum of every single block and item inside of the game. Something that I still want to do. Oh yeah, I forgot. The flag of Lebanon, because I am partially Lebanese. And then, yeah, there is this really big kind of museum looking area. I don't know if you can tell it's a museum, but in the middle was supposed to be sort of like a pond, and then there was going to be a massive tree coming out by the entrance. Around the sides, I was trying to make like little statues. So this was supposed to be, and I was calling them like virtues. So we were going to have different aspects of Minecraft they could each have their own virtue. So this was the virtue of exploration. We had nature, redstone. I like this little redstone guy, even though his body's really, really small. I don't know what I was thinking about that. Parkour, farming, design, combat, and I missed this one, mining. So just kind of a lot of like the tenets of Minecraft, you could say. Then this was going to be the museum proper. I dug out a massive area, which to this day I don't know why I decided to do that and not just build it where I had room, like over there. I should have done that. And I was just starting to fill out this floor with a cool little wooden design when, yet again, everyone stopped playing and I lost motivation. But one thing I really liked, if we head over to this way, and you just go right around the stairs here, you actually end up in my office. And so this, big fan of this place. It was originally supposed to be sort of like the museum archive. So the idea was like above would be all the museum stuff, and this was kind of more like maintenance. But this was my desk, head curator, which is me, Earthworm. And yeah, I would sit in the middle here and take my clients. I had a couple little meetings in this general area. And yeah, just trying to build a nice looking place. Really like my use of like mushroom stem here. Big fan of mushroom stem. Against this back wall, I had some bulk storage with some little indicators. So bulk storage was here. And this indicator would just tell you if the double chest was full. And then the rest of the storage was just kind of spread about in this area, which, if I'm honest, was a pain to get around. I had this idea of using ice to kind of look like glass walls because that was what I wanted. I think in reality, I probably should have left these a lot more open because I remember this was not fun to navigate. But yeah, I liked what I did here. I think there was some cool ideas. I think this dome thingy looked really cool, especially with the copper grates. I wonder if I can change the tick speed, tick rate, this to like something crazy, 3,000. And are these all waxed? Is this waxed? Oh, it is waxed. Okay, that's the problem. Well, I'm not going to bother changing it. You can get the idea of what it would look like. But anyways, that is going to be the end of this video. Let's set the tick speed back to normal. This is going to be the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Give me a comment. Tell me which of the 3 worlds you like the most so far. And like I said at the beginning, let me know if you all will be interested in seeing that Hanging Gardens of Babylon project finish. So thanks for watching.